Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's a second video in a couple of days, isn't it? Thanks very much indeed if you tuned in to the live stream yesterday. I was live streaming for the charity Mind. I was doing some fundraising. I started to make the Pattern Emporium Friday Feels skirt as part of Sewalong, and I did say at the end, I only live streamed for an hour. I did say at the end that I'd be finishing off the waistband today. So that's what I'm going to do. So if that is something that you want to see, stay watching. I will add that the Friday Feels pattern, you can either pay for it, it's £6, that's Great British pounds, through the Pattern Emporium website, or if you join the Pattern Emporium Sewing Circle Facebook group, you can get a code from there which makes the skirt absolutely free. Now, hashtag FrugalSews23 is happening this month. It's March at the moment. So this could be one of your garments to put forward into the hashtag FrugalSews competition at the end of the month. That being said, let's crack on. See you in a minute at the overlocker. Okay, so here I am sitting at the overlocker. When I left you yesterday, I was just about to stitch the hem on my skirt, which has now been completed, as you can see. Actually, you might not be able to see it, but that's the beauty of it. I've done a 3-step zigzag on that, which I was talking about yesterday, because it does give a bit of give to the hem of the skirt. So if you're walking or sitting down or moving around, the stitches won't pop and the stitching won't come undone. So I left as having to complete the waistband, which is here. So what I did when I finished the live stream was I took a piece of elastic, length of elastic, out of a packet, a hemline packet. I'll just show you the type I use. It's this type. Although I think I might be buying it on a roll because I do use an awful lot of it. It's 4 centimetres wide, or 40 millimetres, as you can see. That's what the pattern asks for. Now what I did was I popped, I think there's a metre in the packet. I popped it around my waist, overlapped it by about 2 centimetres, so it's a nice fit, and trimmed it off, and then took it to the machine and just stitched there in a square with the diagonals stitched as well. So it's a nice cross pattern, and that gives, can you see that? You can actually see the bit, can't you, if I hold it up to my sweatshirt? You can see the overlap, so that's already stitched. So to stitch the waistband elastic onto the skirt, the first thing we need to do is find the quarter points of the elastic, and we're going to match this with the quarter points of the skirt. Now finding the quarter points is really quite easy. So if you take the edge of where your overlap is, so that's the edge there, can you see? And fold it along itself. Yeah, that's the halfway point, so I'm going to put a pin, whoops, in that. And that's the halfway point marked. And then to find the quarter point, I'm going to put this halfway point here, this pin, to where I've just marked from. You see that? Quite difficult to see, isn't it? Because it's dark stitching on a dark elastic. But trust me, that lines up with the edge of the elastic I just showed to you. And then I'm going to put a pin in each of these quarter points. Okay, so once you've found the quarter points of your elastic, then you should find the quarter points of the waist of your skirt in exactly the same way. So again, finding the halfway point and then matching the halfway points to find the quarter points. And now we can pin the elastic onto the skirt waistband. I like to have my the join of my elastic at the left hand side of my skirt as I'm wearing it, which is this side. The pattern suggests that you put it at the centre back, and of course it's entirely up to you, but that's where I like to have my elastic. So we're going to pin the elastic onto the inside of the skirt, and I'm going to match the join of the elastic to the left hand side as I'm wearing it. So pop it on there like so. Take one pin out and pin the other pin. The reason I take one pin out is that there are two pins marking the quarter points, which then match up. If I didn't take one pin out, I'd have to remember to take two out when I get to that place of the waist on the overlocker, and there's always a risk that you could run over the pin with the overlocker and blunt your blade at the same time. So I do like to make sure that I only have one pin marking the points. I flipped the band over slightly, so I'm going to have to eyeball that little bit. In we go. Take the other pin out and all the way around until we've finished. Okay, so once you've matched your quarter points, you'll have your elastic on the inside of your skirt, and you'll find that you have a little bit more skirt than you do elastic, and it's not an exact match. But once we go to the overlocker and stitch the elastic to the skirt, we're going to stretch the elastic very slightly, and that will then pull the skirt waist in to the size of the elastic that you cut. Okay, so once everything is in position, I've dropped the knife on my overlocker because I don't want the knife to trim the slight edge of elastic off. I want to keep that intact. So what I'm going to do is find the starting point of my waistband, which for me is the left side seam, and I'm going to just pop that under my foot. And that's it. I'm going to remove my first pin to ensure that I don't overlock over it. I haven't got the knife anyway, but I would really rather not overlock over my pins, and I'll meet you back when I've overlocked round the waist. So what I'm doing is very gently stretching the elastic and keeping the edge of the waistband and the skirt waistband and the edge of the elastic together as they go, or meeting together as they go through the overlocker foot. Okay, so now my elastic has been stitched to the inside of my skirt. You can see stitching on the inside and on the skirt. I'm just going to pop to the ironing board and press that seam that I've just stitched. Okay, so I've now just pressed the seam, the upper waistband seam on there. So now all I have to do, I'm almost finished with the skirt, is flip this elastic to the inside so that it's completely hidden by the skirt waistband. I'm going to do that all along and press it as I go, and you can see that's going to be a really neat finish. Just one more thing that I have to do before we finish the skirt completely, but I'll see you at the sewing machine in a second. I've moved over to my sewing machine just to anchor down the waistband. You can see that I've pressed the waistband down onto itself, and the overlocking is now running along the bottom of the waistband here. I'm just going to do a few straight stitches along the seam. So I'm going to stitch in the ditch all the way down the width of the waistband on both sides of the skirt, so that the waistband doesn't flip up during wear. The pattern actually suggests that you could zigzag or cover stitch along the bottom part of the elastic, but I don't really want that to be seen on my skirt, so I prefer just to stitch down in the ditch of the side seams. And the last thing that I'm going to do to the skirt to finish it off is pop in one of my funky little labels in the back on the waistband, so that when I get dressed or put my skirt on, I'll know which is the back and which is the front. And that's it. It's almost finished, and I'll show you the finished results in just 1 second. So that's it from me. The Pattern Emporium Friday Feels Sew Along is completed. Here is the skirt. It just needs a press. I've stitched along the side seams to hold the elastic down, and stitched in on one of my own labels. Like I said, it just needs a press and it's finished. I hope you enjoyed the sew along and the live part of the sew along as well. Next weekend, I think it probably will be on the Saturday, I will be tackling the Itch to Stitch Lego vest top again in a live sew along. So if you feel like joining me, I'd love to see you there. Until then, happy sewing. Bye bye.